Hello, hello, hello. Happy Thursday. I hope you're all having a really good day. It's Teresa Joy going live right now for Jordan Sheridan Reports. Guest reporting here for Jordan. I'm just going to wait a little bit for more people to hop on. Did you get the chance to meet our newest reporter, Marcus? I hope you did. If you haven't, take a look at his interviews. He has one with Jordan, and then he has, I think, 2 other videos that he posted. So he will be posting regularly on this channel, as well as myself and Jordan, and Marcus is awesome. So anyways, today in the news, we have fascism. Fascist USA, which it's heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking. It's like when you get into an abusive relationship and someone pushes someone else farther and farther, and it just becomes normal, and they push farther and it's accepted, and it becomes normal, and then farther, accepted, normal. And what's happening with the Trump administration and fascism is just, it's getting worse and worse all the time. And half of the country who thinks that Trump is doing an amazing job doesn't even know it's happening. And it's sad because it affects us all, and it takes away from all of our liberty, all of our freedom. It takes away from whatever democracy we had to start with in this country, which we didn't have much of the moment that big donors were allowed to give huge sums of money to politicians, because after that, all integrity went out the window. But anyways, I'm referring to, first off, when I speak of fascism, I'm talking about the NFL. I'm sure you've heard all about it, but I also want to point out something at the end of this that, and I don't want to talk about Trump's tweet, and this was actually not his tweet, it was Mike Pence's tweet. Mike Pence made a tweet. It was then retweeted by Trump and his son, and it was illegal. It was absolutely illegal. It was Colin Kaepernick's lawyer pointed it out, but are they going to get fined or in trouble for it at all? No, not at all. So that's at the end of this. But first of all, let's just talk real quick about what happened in the NFL, the new policy. So I know you know, but on Wednesday, it was unveiled a new policy that said that if you are out on the field, you have to stand during the national anthem. There would be no protesting. You have to stand for the national anthem, or your team will be fined. And they made this provision where they acted as if they were giving everyone their freedom. If you did not want to stand, if you do not want to stand during the national anthem, you can stay in the locker room. But there will be no protesting by kneeling on the field anymore. And if there is, teams will be fined. So that's what they came out. That's what they did. So yeah, I mean, my opinion is I thought that we were a free country and we could do as we choose to express ourselves. And clearly we can't anymore. The players cannot anymore. And I'd like to see where this goes. I really do. So NFL Players Association, this is the union, the NFL union. They were not consulted at all before this decision was made. So the NFL Players Association quickly denounced the policy, noting that there was no consultation with the union before the owners voted on the new policy. So within hours of the league's announcement, the NFLPA fired back saying this: the NFL chose to not consult the union in the development of this new policy. NFL players have shown their patriotism through their social activism, their community service in support of our military and law enforcement, and yes, through their protests to raise awareness about the issues that they care about. The vote by the NFL club CEOs today contradicts the statements made to our player leadership by Commissioner Roger Goodell and the chairman of the NFL's Management Council, John Mara, about the principles, values, and patriotism of the league. Our union will review the policy and challenge any aspect of it that is inconsistent with the collective bargaining agreement. So essentially, the league is trying to shove the protests into the locker room where they won't be seen. Sorry, I have a Band-Aid here. Ow, it's probably grossing you out. I get IVs for health issues. I'm from Buffalo, town of the toxic factories, toxic soil, and toxic water, and we're all sick. So I get IVs weekly to deal with whatever is wrong with me. Yeah, I'm so tired of patriotism. Whew, me too. Because it's not about patriotism, is it? It's not about patriotism at all. As a matter of fact, this move by the NFL owners was, number one, forced by Trump, by him painting a narrative to his base that this was disrespectful to the flag, but more so, it was based on money, their fear that they would lose money if they didn't do this. So we'll get into that. So, yes, before I get into the money issue and what was said in that, there were some bright lights. Some, I think it's two of the owners or people in a managerial position would not stand for this. Two out of how many? So shortly after that, 49ers owner Jed York contradicted Commissioner Roger Goodell's assertion that the motion passed was unanimous by announcing that he had abstained from voting because he said he wanted to talk to his players and get their opinion. York also noted that 49ers may halt concession sales during the anthem. Jets chairman Christopher Johnson then volunteered that he will pay fines of any Jets players who are punished for this policy. And that right there is something that I feel I would have loved to see all the owners do, or some of the owners, or a handful of the owners do. I absolutely love this man now. This is the way it should be. I'm going to repeat that. It was Jets chairman Christopher Johnson volunteered that he will pay the fines of any Jets players punished under that policy. I love it. I love it. You know, but with this policy, there's really no details, and people who have reviewed it will point out that it's very vague and probably done so in a way that they can really lay down strict punishments on these players if it happens, because I'm not sure, did he even lay out how much the players will be fined? If I was a player, I would take the fine. I don't want to see them succumb to this kind of oppression. It's not just oppression in the NFL. It's a fascist, to me, it's racist way of controlling people that the powerful white elite people in this country have done since the inception of the country. And I don't want to see it anymore, as I'm sure many of you don't want to. I don't want to see them oppressing people and controlling people because they have power and money, because this is a serious issue. And gun violence and police brutality is about people dying, unarmed people being shot. This isn't, this isn't a small thing. People are dying. So, Eagles safety Malcolm Jenkins, one of the leaders of the Players Coalition that has negotiated with the league on its support of social justice issues, came out and stated that everyone loses in this new policy. Now, his teammate, Chris Long, I don't know if you've seen this, was much more direct in his statement, and it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. So I do want to read it to you. This is a fear of a diminished bottom line, Long wrote on Twitter. It's also a fear of a president turning his base against a corporation. This is not patriotism. Don't get it confused. These owners don't love America. Many of them, many more than the players demonstrating and taking real actions to improve it. It also lets you, the fan, know where our league stands. I will continue to be committed to effecting change with my platform. He continued, I'm someone who's always looked at the anthem as a declaration of ideas, including the right to peaceful protests. Our league continues to fall short on this issue. So honestly, now because of the NFL's move, they are going to draw so much more attention to this. As they wrote in, I think it was The Guardian, the NFL's ineptitude, because of the NFL's ineptitude, the anthem's controversy will be around a long time, and it will be messy and ugly and divisive. The union and the league will likely go to war, and swaths of Americans will fight over it. Swaths of Americans will fight over it. And this is something, I don't like to fight with people about politics. I try to stay peaceful, even though I'm very vocal, but this is something that I have fought with people against, because it's almost as if it's not happening to me, it's not happening, is the attitude of so many people. Like, if I'm a person of privilege and I'm living in a safe community and I don't have to worry about my children being shot by police officers, then I'm going to jump right on this narrative that the Republicans and Trump are pushing, that it's unpatriotic and it's against the flag and people died for our right. Yeah, people died for the right to be freedom, to freely express what we feel. And when people are unhappy with the system, and there are young people and unarmed people and innocent people being killed at the hands of police officers, we should be able to talk about it. No one was violent. No one was out of line. And it wasn't disrespectful. It was kneeling. And that is not disrespecting the flag or the veterans. That narrative is so freaking bullshit. But Americans suck up any kind of propaganda that's put out there. And it's just, everyone's so angry. I'm getting angry. Everyone is so angry. I'm sorry, but this president stirs up so much anger and divides this country in a way, and this world in a way, that is so incredibly dangerous. And I'm scared for another 2 years of it. We have to fight it with positivity, but it's very hard, because I know that, as people who are active and protesting and vocal, we're fighting with people who don't agree with us. And right now we don't need any more violence and anger. It's a fine line. So this is what Roger Goodell said, and really how money gets involved, and what was said in an NFL meeting of the owners that was taped, and how we know that this is all really based on the fear of losing money, as if they don't already make enough. So this is what Goodell says, and it's total bullshit, because he should just be saying, we don't want to lose money. We don't want to lose money. We don't give a shit about people being shot. We don't want to lose money. We don't want to lose money. But this is what he said. We want people to be respectful of the national anthem. We want people to stand, that's all personnel, and make sure they treat this moment in a respectful fashion. That's something we think we owe. We were also very sensitive to give players the choice. Oh, so sensitive. Because if they were sensitive, what they would do is use this incredible platform that they have to reach so many Americans, to stand behind the players and be affirmative that, yes, police violence, police brutality is a problem that needs to be taken care of in this country. They could have stood behind the players and used their huge reach across parties to unite people behind this and simply make the world a better place. But that's not what they did, because we don't want to lose money. We don't want to lose money. We don't give a shit about people's lives. We don't want to lose money. But also, let's put it this way. If this protest if Colin Kaepernick had taken a knee about breast cancer, about gosh, I mean any other issue that needs to be raised awareness besides that of one that is, you know, Black people being shot, people of color being shot. If it was about breast cancer, if it was something else, everybody would have been behind it. Taking a knee would have been like, yes, let's all take a knee, let's all take a knee, we're saints, we're saints. But it wasn't. It wasn't received that way because it's about minorities. And a lot of people just don't give a shit. And it's the government presses of propaganda. They press this idea to divide the people in the country. They want us divided by race. They want us divided by religion. They want us divided by socioeconomic class. The politicians and the corporations want us divided and fighting because it keeps us weaker. And if we're fighting each other, we're not going to fight them and say, holy shit, what's going on here? There's not clean drinking water here. What's this information you're trying to hide? The EPA is trying to hide that these 3 states have contaminated water. How about getting people health care? How about providing teachers with the proper pay? How about taking care of the issue of guns and homicide and mass shootings in the country? If we're so busy hating each other because of race, religion, political affiliation, we're weak and we're not fighting the people we should be. And that's the politicians and the corporations. And that's just, they use us against each other. They use propaganda to divide us, and it works. That's my cat meowing. She's upset too. She is upset. Okay. So, like I said, this isn't about the flag. This isn't about veterans. This isn't about any of that. Because if you actually looked at the policies that this administration has passed, they don't favor the veterans. And there are a lot of veterans who are already suffering. And we can get into that some other time, but total bullshit, yet his base believes it. Believe anything. I don't want to say stuff like that. I don't want to put people down, but it's true. Okay, so at an owners meeting in late April, at an owners meeting in April, the owners kept returning to one bottom line. And this was taped so you could see actually who was saying what the conversation was about, and over again. And this was a meeting to discuss taking a knee. And they just kept talking about money. So the owners kept talking about large numbers of fans and sponsors had become angry about the protest. Boycotts had been threatened and jerseys had been burned. And they kept repeating that TV ratings were declining. So really, instead of talking about the issue, talking about social injustices, they were talking about money. Despite the fact that the NFL recently signed a streaming deal with Verizon for $2 billion. So believe me, their pockets are still fat. Yet, that was the only thing they could discuss during this meeting. So they talked about Trump's jabs on Twitter and had turned fans against the league. Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie called Trump's presidency disastrous, not at that meeting, but he did in the past. At that meeting, he cautioned against players getting drawn into Trump's tactics. He said, we've got to be careful not to be baited by Trump or whomever else. He said, we have to find a way not to be divided and not to get baited. Buffalo Bills owner Terry Paguglia said, all Donald needs to do is to start to do this again. We need some kind of immediate plan because of what's going on in society. All of us now, we need to put a Band-Aid on what's going on in the country. The Jacksonville Jaguar owner, Shahid Khan, said, all the damage Trump's going to do is done. So they're shitting their pants about this reality TV star sociopath's power over his base. One tweet. What did he call? He called the players who took a knee sons of a bitches. People are being shot. And this sociopath asshole is calling people sons of bitches for trying to draw attention to people's deaths and family suffering and communities' fear. So in case you didn't know, what are the players protesting? Colin Kaepernick, along with Eric Reed, who started the protest, have said time and time again that they are not protesting the anthem or the military, that they are using the anthem to bring attention to racial injustices and the issue of police abuse of Black and brown citizens. What are they talking about? What are they talking about? There's no police abuse of Black or brown citizens. There's no police. They're all just drug dealers. They're all running around with guns, right? Is that what some people think? Well, how about this? Milwaukee Bucks player Sterling Brown was tased during a seemingly minor parking problem. Stephon Clark was shot by Sacramento police in his backyard while holding a cell phone. Michael Brown, unarmed Black teenager, shot by an officer in Ferguson, Missouri. 17% of the 100 largest cities in the United States, police officers killed African American men at a higher rate than the U.S. murder rate in 2014. 69% of the victims of police brutality in the United States are African American, were suspected of nonviolent crimes, and were unarmed. 97% of the cases of police brutality that were tracked in 2015 did not result in any officer being charged with a crime. In September, during a speech in Alabama, Trump called players sons of bitches over their protest. So that's where we're at. Now here's a fun little twist. Did you see Mike Pence's tweet? I am going to talk about Twitter for a minute. He tweeted, this is so surreal. Hashtag winning, as he hailed NFL's new anthem policy as a victory for Donald Trump. He had a screenshot of CNN's headline about the decision that the NFL made, which is so freaking funny too, because I thought CNN was fake news. I mean, wasn't it? Isn't it funny that that's actually the source he took his screenshot from? So he screenshots CNN's headline about the new policy, and he puts, this is Mike Pence, the vice president, and puts on Twitter this screenshot and puts hashtag winning, followed by a caption that called the policy change a stunning victory for President Trump. Disgusting. So this is a personal victory for Trump now, huh? It's just all about Trump. Pompous asshat. What I'm getting at here is that this was illegal. So Pence tweeted it and Trump retweeted it, and I'm fairly certain Trump's son retweeted it, and they were bragging about this, taking credit for it. So after that, Colin Kaepernick's lawyer responded with this information about how that was breaking a law. So 18 U.S. Code 227, wrongfully influencing a private entity's employment decision by a member of Congress or an officer, employee of the legislation or executive branch. A, whoever, being a covered government person with the intent to influence solely on the basis of a partisan political affiliation and employment decision or employment practice of any private entity, one, takes or withholds or offers or threatens to take or withhold an act, official act, or two, influences or other or offers or threatens to influence the official act of another shall be fined under this title or imprisoned for more than 15 years or both, and may be disqualified from holding office of honor, trust, and profit under the United States. In this section, the term covered government person means a senator, a representative in, or a delegate or resident commissioner to the Congress, an employee of the House of Congress, or the president, vice president, or employee of the United States Postal Service, blah, blah, blah. There it is. Big. Big. Mike Pence tweeted, Trump retweeted, Trump's son retweeted, and it literally is 18 U.S. Code 227, wrongfully influencing private entities' employment decision, is punishable up to imprisonment of 15 years and being fined and no longer holding office. Oh, looks like we got him now. Thank God for the law, because the law protects everyone, and the law, everyone is punishable by the law, not just minorities, not just people who don't have the money for a lawyer, but a president is punishable by law, by the law. A vice president is punishable by the law. So I guess that's it for Trump and Vice President Pence. I guess it's done for them. They will be imprisoned and no longer be in office because they broke the law. So thank God that the United States is fair and just. Wah, wah, wah. That's too bad. It's too bad that the law doesn't apply to them. It's just too bad. And yet Colin Kaepernick is unemployed. Sad. Okay, on to the next. These are two very huge issues, and I feel like I need a full meal and some vitamins before covering the next one, because that was pretty depleting. But Hillary Clinton is back in the news. She's back in the spotlight. Just when you thought that it was safe for progressives, she's back. And she's wielding tons of money like she always has. With the lowest ratings ever, it doesn't quite matter because she's still able to roll a high roller. She's still able to get tons of money from donors to influence the system. And that's what she's trying to do right now. So this was a lovely headline. The Washington Examiner's headline, DSCC chairman, we welcome Bill and Hillary Clinton's involvement in the 2018 elections. Now, what I want to talk about also is Clinton's PAC, Onward Together. Have you heard about this? So that's after, but. So, yeah. She has a list of people that she wants to endorse, and she's got shitloads of money to do it. So that's unfortunate. She did choose one good person to endorse, though, I must say. So Senator Chris Van Hollen, chairman of the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee, said Thursday that Senate Democrats welcome support from former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and from former President Bill Clinton in the 2018 midterm elections. They welcome support. What does that mean? They welcome their money. And money talks. Clinton has started to ratchet up already the 2018 involvement in the past couple of weeks. Just this week, she endorsed Governor Cuomo and Stacey Abrams. And it's Stacey Abrams who I really do like. I'm pretty sure that Marcus did a piece on Stacey Abrams, I think yesterday. So go check that out. She's actually a wonderful candidate, a wonderful person. So, but, you know, there's reasons for everything that she does. Now, I did a piece on Cuomo, who is a faux progressive, who is fighting Cynthia Nixon, who is a very progressive. She's now supported by Bernie's, by the group Our Revolution. So I did a piece on that. Check that out if you don't know who she is and if you don't know how shitty Governor Cuomo is. So Governor Cuomo has been the governor for quite some time, and he throws out little biscuits of progressiveness to then say, look, I did this progressive thing, but it's really just little biscuits. It's never a full meal. It's just a little touch of something so that he can claim to be a person who's taking actions, but he's not, and he never did. So when Cynthia Nixon came into the picture, he amped it up. He started doing things that he didn't do all the years that he was governor, just to show that he was progressive. Like his campaign people actually use the word progressive now when they're describing him. So he's trying to appeal to progressives, but Cynthia Nixon is really actually progressive. But of course, Hillary did not stand by a female, which she had said so many times in her campaigns, that you need to stand by progressive female candidates. Well, she didn't. She stood by Cuomo, and there's a reason for that. In 2016, Cuomo was a leading state supporter of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. So you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. But also Cuomo is a corporate Democrat, and he raises a lot of money for the Democratic Party. So you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. An interesting thing that I found out, and this is not to diminish how amazing Cynthia Nixon is, but Nixon actually backed Clinton over Sanders in 2016. Cynthia Nixon back in 2016 said, I assume Hillary Clinton will be the Democratic nominee. That was in 2015. I will be supporting Hillary. I was an Obama supporter in 2008. I'm a Hillary person now. But now Cynthia is endorsed by Our Revolution as well as Working Families Party, and for good reason. Her policies her campaign is all about the people, taking care of the people and getting money out of politics. So I really do hope she wins. So what is Onward Together? Hillary Clinton's new PAC. That's why I said it's the Clinton Foundation 2.0. So if you check out their website, they come off as supporting really progressive movements and grassroots movements and going out and protesting, and they make themselves look like they're standing with the activists and getting out and stuff like that. But that's a cover for what they're doing behind the scenes, and that is that they're raising like hundreds of thousands of dollars to push corporate Democrats' campaigns, and that's what they're doing right now. So they too, like Governor Cuomo, threw out little progressive tidbits. They did their surface, like make it look good on the outside. So Onward Together in Bloomberg, more than 18 months after the election loss, Clinton remains a deeply divisive figure. Her approval ratings are at a near record low, yet few Democrats can match her fundraising prowess and star power. On a single afternoon late last month, she helped raise roughly $500,000 for groups allied with her year-old politicized political organization group Onward Together. Already active this midterm season, she recently endorsed Democratic candidates from New York, Michigan, and Georgia. New York City council member Jumaane Williams, who is challenging the state's lieutenant governor, said the party's left wing would have preferred the appearance, and she spoke just this week. She spoke when she endorsed Cuomo. She got on stage and she spoke, and Jumaane Williams said that the left wing would have preferred the appearance of Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, a more unifying candidate, He worries Clinton's appearance demonstrates that Democrats haven't worked to heal the division highlighted in the 2016 presidential primary. We haven't learned our lesson and we don't care, he said. And that's just the bottom line. The actual Democratic Party has not learned their lesson and they don't care. And they're doing the same thing this time around as they did last time. It's like Groundhog Day. Hillary's back in the picture. She's raising money. She's raising money for the DNC, millions of dollars. She's putting that money into supporting corporate Democrats. She's pushing the same old corporate shills. Clinton hosted a private meeting of the Onward Together network in Midtown Manhattan. They encouraged and the related organization. I hope this isn't, my camera just shut off. I hope this isn't super choppy for you guys. So anyways, so she hosted a party where she called in the organizations. She basically told them again to do what she wants them to do. And then she introduced them to her donors. Puppets. Here. This is what happened last year. I mean, this is what happens all the time. Here, I'm going to call you groups to come in. This is what I want you to do. And here's the money. And that is what happened. And that's what's happening again. Clinton described that afternoon they gathered. They generated more than $500,000. So if you go onto the Onward Together website, it says Onward Together is an American political action organization founded by the U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton to fundraise for progressive political groups. Clinton described the group as an effort to advance the vision that won nearly 66 million votes of a fairer, more inclusive, big-hearted America. An employee told the Washington Free Beacon that it has given over $1 million to groups so far. The PAC associated groups like progressive nonprofits describe itself as, sorry, that's something else. Okay, Onward Together is backing a number of left-wing groups, including Color of Change, Swing Left, Indivisible, Run for Something, the Alliance for Youth Action, and other groups. I Vote Fun, Latino Victory, Vote Latino. So they put that on their website. This is what we're doing. We're supporting all these groups. Great groups. Those are good groups. I want them to be supported. But that's a front. That's a front. Because what's going on behind the scenes is she's taking her same old corporate donors. She took a lot of her money from her own campaign, put it into this new PAC, and now she's putting it into the candidates that the DNC wants to be elected. Fighting against, example, she's backing Governor Cuomo, a corporate shill, over a real progressive who really cares about the people, Cynthia Nixon. And that's going to continue to happen. She's right back in there. The Clintons are right back in there with their money, making sure that this country stays run by the corporations. And this is, did they not learn the first time? They lost. They lost to Donald Trump. It was a circus. They sabotaged Bernie Sanders, who created a fire in millions of Americans and in a whole generation, new generation of people who are still out there fighting every day. He influenced such positive change in this country, and they did everything they could to sabotage him, and she lost anyways. And now we're at the brink of nuclear war. And the doomsday clock is closer than ever to reaching midnight. And global warming, climate change, out the window. I mean, we're not talking about shit sucks in our country. We're talking about two things that could end the existence of humans on this planet: nuclear war and climate change. And we're moving so fast towards destruction from both of them because of what the DNC did in the last elections, and they're doing it again. So within our own party, within our Democratic Party, we are divided. We have the DNC and the corporate shills, and we have the people who are not going to look past them and who will vote for them, because we might seem united against Trump, but within this party, we're not united. You had a huge separation between Bernie supporters and Hillary supporters, and that separation's still there, and that's going to start surfacing now that the DNC is going to be fighting progressive candidates. So, Clinton sent $800,000 from Hillary for America, her former campaign committee, to Onward Together following its launch last year. So she put her own money from her previous election debacle into this new PAC. Onward Together's website cynically alludes to recent mass actions, but it should be remembered that, and I'm saying what I'm talking about there is they were posting about when we did protests across the United States involving immigration, when we were gathering at airports protesting immigration. They put that on their website as if they had something to do with it, but it's just a front. It's just a front to make them look like they're grassroots. Like, remember Hillary with the pop, and she did like wasn't Instagram, it was like, I can't remember, Vine, where she's like trying to appeal to the kids. I'm just chilling in Cedar Rapids. That was a front. Hillary didn't care about millennials. If she thinks that would appeal to them, I'm just chilling. Okay. Because millennials are intelligent. Really, that was so insulting. But anyways, that's what she's doing again. They're posting pictures of protest on her website as if they had something to do with it, but it's just a front. They just want to raise money the way that they always have to influence the elections. So Onward Together's website cynically alludes to these recent mass actions, but it should be remembered that these were not the products of Democratic leadership. They had nothing to do with this, nor have we heard prominent Democrats calling for the dismissal of felony riot charges for protests swept up in the mass arrests during the demonstrations. Clinton has not joined in the blockades of immigration and customs enforcement vehicles at detention centers. Democratic politicians have been more eager to defend authoritarian institutions like the FBI than they are to call for anti-racism actions against white supremacy. Nothing has changed, and they don't give a shit about the people, and they're not grassroots. They're the same as they always have been. The Democrats remain the party of centrism and marginalism in the American politics. They are not and will not be the representatives of popular discontent, and trusting a democratic operation like Onward Together with influence over collective action could only serve to blunt its radicalism. Of their goals and projects that Clinton listed were more connected either to the 2018 midterms or to fundraising. And it's clear that Onward Together will mainly be the election engineering tool for the Democrats. So this is in the Washington Times. Hillary's Onward Together resistance group smells like scandal. Of the 150 people who met with or had conference calls scheduled with Hillary, at least 85 donated to the Clinton Foundation, according to the Associated Press analysis. The 85 donors gave a combined total of $156 million to the Clinton Foundation, at least 40 gave more than $100,000 each, and at least 20 gave more than $1 million. How could anyone possibly believe that these donations didn't help get them a meeting with Clinton? So, is she grassroots? Is she grassroots? Is she taking meetings with people who have no money, with people like me and you, talking about them, talking with them about the real issues? No. So that's Hillary. That's the Democratic Party. And that's not a good thing. Because they screwed over the country last time, and they're going to do it again. And it's all about money. I don't know. It's up to us, I guess, to be vocal and to get the word out about real progressive candidates and try to spread the truth about these corporate shills that the Democratic Party is pushing and will push. And now Hillary's back in the mix, in there with her money, her millions of dollars from donors, pushing the same shit. Honestly, her approval rating is, I read that it is actually lower than Trump's. But they'll let her speak because she's the one who's coming up with the cash. Very sad. Why doesn't she just go away? Go away. Take your money and go relax somewhere. Sit back and relax. And leave Bernie alone. Did anybody else get the email from Bernie with the title, I'm running? I did. I was at the dentist getting dental oral surgery, and I was sort of, out of it. And I saw that pop up on my phone in between, taking breaks in the surgery, and I was like, oh my God, Bernie's running for president, and went on Facebook, oh my God, Bernie's running for president. And then I realized that it wasn't, I'm running didn't refer to Bernie as running for president, it referred to him as running for Senate. And I was very sad. So do you guys think Bernie will run? I hope so. Oh, I hope so. Then one more quickie. It's very sad how Americans are being poisoned everywhere. We're all sick. So premature birth rates dropped in California after coal and oil plants were shut down. This was immediate and drastic. Within a year after 8 coal plants were shut down in California, they realized they found an incredibly huge drop in the rate of birth defects and stillborn births in the area where these coal plants were. Immediate. So this pollution, fossil fuels, these coal plants are robbing children of their future or killing children. And I know that Republicans think it's such a noble cause to stand against abortion, but then they don't pay attention to stories like this where you literally have women who live around these coal factories who are either having stillborns or children who are premature or children who are born with high blood pressure because of the pollution coming out of these power plants. And then you have a president who's trying to push coal and who has slashed regulations on the pollution, the factories and the amount of pollution that they put out. But I guess, it's just abortion. It's not about, you can't conceive that children dying elsewhere is a part of the equation. Or how about the thousands of children who are dying of cholera in Yemen because we continue to bomb the shit out of Yemen, and we've destabilized their entire sanitation system to the point where they're predicting like millions of people dying from cholera, and including children. Or how about the starvation that's going on? Millions of children will die of starvation. How about the air raids in Syria by the U.S. military? Within the past year alone, thousands of civilians, including children, have been killed by the president and his actions. But abortion is the only thing that really matters, because the rest of it, it's like, not happening. Everything's good. The economy's good. And let me tell you, just because the stock market is high doesn't mean the economy is good. It just means the rich people are getting richer. But I can't hear you. Trump's doing a good job. Democrats suck. Well, I might agree with you on some of that. So, a new study on air pollution found within a year of 8 coal and oil-fired power plants closed, the rate of preterm births and mothers living close dropped. The study, published by the American Journal of Epidemiology, found that the rate of premature births dropped from 7 to 5.1%. after the plants were closed between 2001 and 2011, and the most significant declines came among African Americans and Asian women. Shutting down power plants, the conclusion was shutting down power plants that burn fossil fuels can almost immediately reduce the risk of premature birth in pregnant women living nearby. So close them down. Close them down. No. This is just going to be ignored. Researchers looked at records of more than 57,000 births by mothers who lived close to 8 coal and oil-fired plants across California in the year before the facilities were shut down and the year after, when the air was cleaner. Now, coal and oil-fired power plants emit a lot of pollutants, including fine particulate matter, which is PM 2.5, nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide, benzene, lead, mercury. We're talking about premature births in this article, but I'll tell you what, I am from Buffalo, New York, which was the center of the Industrial Revolution, and that's why we're all sick and suffering or dead. And we have that shit in our soil and water. We have an entire neighborhood where people are dying of lupus. Not only have lupus, but dying of lupus. Young men in their early 20s, men rarely get lupus and rarely would die that young. Men in their early 20s, young men, are dying of lupus. It's causing neurological problems. We have one of the highest rates of MS. So it's not just premature births or stillborns, but these chemicals are harmful, especially to younger children, even before they are born. The study found that women living within 5 kilometers of the plant who are most exposed to the air pollution saw a significant drop in preterm births. Noel Mueller, an epidemiologist from Johns Hopkins University who studies health impacts of air pollution, looked at 1,293 mothers and their children in the Boston area. So she studied this elsewhere. Mueller found that babies who were exposed to higher levels of particulate matter during the 3rd trimester were significantly more likely to be born with or have high blood pressure in their childhood. So we're looking at 6 and 7-year-olds who already suffer from high blood pressure. What kind of a life have we given them? What kind of a life do they have just because they're breathing air that is full of pollutants? They have high blood pressure at the age of 6 or 7. Like, I have lupus, and it's not fun. It's not fun. But I was healthy when I was a child. These children already have high blood pressure. What is their life going to look like when they're 40 years old? What are they going to have then? A lot more. It's not fair what we're doing to them. And our president has slashed the few policies that were in place, which were total shit anyways, that was somewhat regulating the amount of pollution coming from these factories. He's gotten rid of, or he's tried to get rid of those policies. I'm sure he'll succeed. So Mueller says it raises a serious question about whether we want to roll back any environmental regulations. In her commentary on the California study, another woman made similar observations. We all breathe. Even small increases in mortality due to the ambient air pollution have a large population health impact. Of course, we need electricity, and there are costs and benefits to all decisions, but at some point, we should recognize that our failure to lower air pollution results in the death and disability of American infants and children. So if you are a Republican and you are a Christian and you voted for Trump, because as a Republican, you always have to vote Republican because you don't believe in abortion, please listen to what I just said. I will repeat it for you. At some point, we should recognize that our failure to lower air pollution results in the death and disability of American infants and children. I just interviewed a woman whose sister lives by a power plant in Buffalo, New York. She is 20, in her mid-20s, and she wears diapers. She cannot speak. She can barely walk. She will have to be taken care of for the rest of her life. Her life has been taken from her. Trump pledged to revive the coal industry and put miners back to work. That's the propaganda. Put miners back to work. I care about American citizens. I'm going to put miners back to work. My grandfather worked in a coal mine. He had black lung. It wasn't fun watching him die. But it's all about the people, right, Trump? It's not about the fact that you have deals with fossil fuel industry and that it fills your pockets with money. No, I want to put the coal miners back to work. How about you give them a job that doesn't kill them and their families? How about you start putting money into renewable energy, because those renewable energy does not kill people, doesn't make them sick. If you care about the American citizens, give them jobs in the renewable energy industry. There's lots of them. We can redo the entire infrastructure of the United States to accommodate renewable energy. There will be so many jobs that you won't have to put coal miners back to work in an industry that kills them and their family. Trump's EPA plans to repeal Obama's signature plan to limit carbon emissions from power plants, scale back other coal regulations, and end a moratorium on issuing leases to extract coal from the federal lands. In early February, the House and Senate voted to repeal the stream protection rule. Trump signed the bill, which means that stream protection rule is now dead. Coal companies will have a freer hand in dumping mining debris in streams. So that is going to kill children. Pro-life, pro-life. Let's be pro-life. You want to be pro-life? Be anti-fossil fuel. Because not only do the production and the transportation of all fossil fuels make people sick and kill people, and we're talking about fracking, we're talking about the oil pipelines, we're talking about gas pipelines, we're talking about the benzene coming out of the generating stations for the production of gas. We're talking about war for fossil fuels. That kills people. We're talking about global warming from the emissions from fossil fuels, from the transportation of fossil fuels. Climate change, it is real. NASA's not lying to you. If you want to be pro-life, be pro renewable energy. Be anti-fossil fuel, because we're talking about war, we're talking about pollution. That's it. That's the message for the day. Okay, thanks for joining me today. By the way, Harvey Weinstein is going to jail. I don't know if you saw that one. He is actually going to jail. I don't have time to talk about it right now, but Google it. And we had another school shooting, and it needs to stop. I have an interview I'm about to post with an incredible woman, young woman. I say young woman because she's the age of my daughter, and because it's very sad that her cousin was the victim of gun violence, and she took her grief and she put it into action, and she marched from Chicago all the way to the capital of Chicago with a cross on her back, with a picture of her cousin on the cross, to raise awareness and to change policies. And she's politically involved now in changing this country. So please look for that interview. We'll have that posted today or tomorrow. Anything else? I think that's it for now. So thank you, Carl. Hi. So yeah, that's it for today. I work. I work. I might take the day off of work tomorrow to cover a few more things. And also in regards to Harvey Weinstein, I'm not going to get into it right now, but I have an interview as well with the founder of the Me Too movement, and she just talks about really the rape culture among minorities, and it's very, very sad. And that's a message that we really haven't heard a lot of during this Me Too movement. We have a lot of celebrities coming forward with their stories, and I'm really grateful for it. And I'm glad that it's made such a huge impact in this country. But the actual founder of the Me Too movement did it to help people in minority neighborhoods, started that movement to help people in minority neighborhoods to come forward and not be afraid to speak out and try to seek justice against rape and sexual assault. So I have an interview with her as well. So keep an eye out for both of those. Anyways, thanks for joining me today. And it seems overwhelming and it seems depressing, but it's not. I mean, it is. But the fact that we're talking about it, that's more than we've ever had. Really. Like, I mean, I'm not just talking about the Me Too movement. I'm talking about everything that we talked about today, about fascism, about racism, about one last time my camera stopped. Anyways, my point is, it's not that we're just sitting here bitching about what's happening in the country and feeling sad and helpless. We're not helpless at all. And what we're doing is sharing the truth. And then we're acting on it. We're sharing the truth. We're getting the word out. We're raising awareness. We're planting seeds. We're taking it to the polls. And good things are happening. And we're seeing that. We're seeing that in these elections where, yeah, Hillary Clinton might be out there with her millions of dollars trying to influence so that corporate shills will win, but they're not. I mean, we have a lot of great candidates who have won already or who are running, and I have faith that our unity and our power and perseverance will win. So keep fighting. Have a good Thursday.